Whoa! Welcome to the What's Everyday podcast. We fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Helps you keep up with all of our podcast episodes and new content, all that fun stuff. And you just get to watch what we do because we're weird and funny. Yeah, we're starting a new month. That's crazy. It's June. It's June.
Time is flying this year, JJ.
Dude,
It's
2025
crazy.
is going like gangbusters fast. It's nuts, dude. It's June. But with June comes summer. And with summer comes great movies, whether it's your blockbusters or whatever, or the classics that we're going to talk about. Some of them, I don't know how they ended up in a summer film selection, but that's okay. We'll talk about them anyway. And if you haven't noticed, Matson isn't here. I'd feel sorry for him, but the son of a bitch is in Spain. So
Having the greatest summer experience ever.
Yeah, he can go GFY. And we will do this podcast without him and the next one too. So while he's in Spain, I hope he's having a good time. But with that, we're jumping into summer kickoff movies. And to kick it off, we're going straight for it. So Dazed and Confused. It was released September 24th, 1993. It was written by Richard Linklater. It was directed by Richard Linklater. It stars Jason London, Wiley Wiggins, Matthew McConaughey, Rory Cochrane, Joey Lauren Adams, Mila Jovovich, Sean Andrews, Adam Goldberg, Anthony Rapp, Sasha Jensen. I could go on, but I will have to say Cole Hauser because he's pretty funny. But yeah, there's a lot of people in this movie. It's about the adventures of high school and junior high students on the last day of school in May 1976. That's as good a synopsis you can get for this particular movie. Alec, this was your choice, dude. I want to hear all about why we're watching and talking about Dazed and Confused.
This was my pick, and it was always going to be on the list. Summer movie, Dazed and Confused. You're never going to find a better one, in my opinion. The interesting thing, though, is, right, so it's a well-known fact. I have a huge man crush on Matthew McConaughey. So, like, Matthew McConaughey, first movie. Also just amazing. But the problem that I have with the movie is you can tell where he doesn't belong, but that they liked him enough to put him back in there. And so it's a little bit jarring here and there, but Wooderson is one of the greatest film characters ever created, like hands down. And if you're talking summer movie, he fits the bill for exactly what you want. Small town kind of vibe. Just it's amazing. And so every time I watch this movie, it creates almost that, not necessarily nostalgia, right? Because I didn't live in the 70s. I was born the same year this movie came out, right? But it's like taking back that simpler almost kind of experience when you're younger in that coming of age stuff. And so that kind of I guess experience doesn't necessarily change so much. The surroundings change, but the experience that you go through in this coming of age, pretty similar in the same vein of things. And so sitting down and watch this, it's like taking it back to some good times, right? And so I thoroughly enjoy just throwing this on. It's quotable, it's enjoyable. You have just an all-star stellar cast from like their beginnings in Hollywood almost, or near enough to it, that it's just an enjoyable watch all around. So I sit down and watch this as frequently as I can.
Yeah, I was glad you picked it. If you hadn't, this is another one that I had a feeling, because you had talked about it as we were gearing up for this topic. But I was like, if he doesn't, I will. Because this is a movie, man, I remember being 12 years old, living in Kentucky, little tiny town. I've told you guys it with one movie theater that had like 4 screens or some shit. And when this movie came out, like, we didn't care about it as kids. Because to your point, like, the hell do I give a shit about 1976 for? Like, that's my parents' stuff. You know what I mean? And it was so, but anyway, like, so, but then you have the older kids who are going in high school and we were in junior high, and you would hear about Dazed and Confused, and you know, it's funny and it's good. They all do all sorts of crazy shit in it. And I was like, we went and bought tickets. I don't even remember what we bought tickets for, but it was some PG movie. And then we snuck into Dazed and Confused. And I remember being 12 years old, just laughing my ever loving ass off at this movie and thinking, other than getting my ass whooped by a bunch of seniors when I'm a freshman, I really want to go to high school. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, and I'll tell you, as a 90s kid who got to see this movie, like, as you were like, you always wanted to be that kid that took his licks and then became part of the crew and got to make out with his sister's buddy, like best friend. And like, so it's just like, we thought about that shit as kids. Like, we would reference this movie constantly when I was a kid and talk about, man, I gotta be like so-and-so. And that joke, I mean, it's so inappropriate nowadays. People, they lose their minds, but like these high school girls, they stay the same. I get older, but they stay the same age. Like that line, like we did that. Like, seriously, there's so many quotable things, and this movie just holds up. Like, and it's been a very long time since I'd watched this movie, actually, which is surprising because this is one of my favorites. But when I was sitting there watching it yesterday going, oh my God, why do I not watch this like all the time? Because it's just great, man. And I bitch a lot sometimes on this podcast about movies that have no point. This is the greatest movie that has no point. Like, seriously, like, there is no point to this movie, but that's what makes it great, because that age, there's not really a point. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, it's just so interesting. But yeah, I was so glad that you put this on the list and it got voted for, because I was like, this is what I'm talking about right here.
So something else that kind of, I don't know, hit me on this watch through, I'll say, is the kind of this concept of almost positive bullying.
Yeah.
Right. Or the rite of passage bullying, where it's almost like bullying's lost that. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And the betrayal and stuff. And it's all right to bully somebody as long as you don't leave them hanging and it's just out of maliciousness. Yeah. But you have this almost, we get the experience for Mitch, right? And it's like, hey, yeah, he gets fucked up. But that opens all these doors to a summer night and a summer experience that he's never going to forget.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a cool one where he's now part of the gang. He's invited in. It's coming into, high school, and which is a very, awkward time for anybody. And you're still figuring yourself out. And it's almost like taking all that awkwardness in the 70s and just kind of like getting it all over with at once, pushing it through. And now he's, kind of past that stage. Right. So it's now no longer really trying to figure yourself out. It's kind of the same mentality of, you need to learn how to swim. You just toss someone into the water and then they'll figure it out. But it's kind of taking the shortcut, and, someone who probably would be, based on look and attitude and everything, he would be a total loser in high school. Nobody wants to hang out with him. Yeah. But instead, because, this kind of process happens, he now is, part of the crew. And it's like, I was like, hey, that's like positive bullying. Like, I'm all about that, because I'm a huge bully, but I'm an asshole about it. And so I was like, this actually could be used in a way to still bully somebody, but make some good come out of it. Bring back bullying. That's what I say.
Dude, I'm telling you. So it's funny that you say that. And I know it's like you made part of it as a joke, but the other part is very serious. But I'm telling you, I think that, and listen, let me differentiate. There's shitty bullying. Like, there's actual, like, someone's an asshole, had a tough life, whatever it is, and they have to be a shit human being to make themselves feel better by actually bullying. And that's not okay. That needs to be fixed. We need to actually put more attention on the bullies as well as those being bullied. Right now, we just look at bullies and go, fuck you, man, you're a bully. But instead, there's a reason that they're bullying, and we need to get down to that. We lose track of that, right? It's either you're the victim or we're canceling you. It's one or the other. There's no in between. And here's the crazy part. So as a kid, like, and I know you're, like you said, I was 12 and you were being born.
I was born, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, even so, like, the difference, I'm sure, when you were in high school was still probably different than my experience, because I'll tell you right now, like we didn't get paddled or anything like that from like they didn't chase us down on the last day of school going, you're now a freshman in high school, we're going to give you some whoops. Now I wouldn't have put it past people where I grew up and went to high school, but no, like, but we got bullied, and not, but to your point, not in a vindictive or shitty way. It was a welcome to the party, pal. You got to pay your dues kind of shit, right? And it could come in different forms. Like I went to high school in Kentucky, and right by our school there was this really shit, ugly, nasty creek that ran, and it was pretty deep. Like there was runoff, there was concrete shit. Like it was a city built thing, and then it went into an actual creek. But I can't tell you how many kids like got thrown into that fucking thing, and it was gross. And I was one of them. So I got thrown into it. But you know what? I got thrown into it. It was gross. I swam out. I went into the school showers. I took a shower. I got to change clothes, and I wore some stupid ass, like lost and found clothes for the rest of the day. Right. And I was pissed. And when I got home, my mom was pissed because that water's dirty and gross. And who knows, like I might have fucking caught hepatitis just by getting, you know what I mean? But like but at the same time, one of the kids that threw me in there became one of my best friends. Like I still talk to them today. Right. So it's like, nowadays we look down, and that's why I was laughing. Like I watched this movie and I go, people would lose their minds if this shit happened today. Like people be going to jail for fucking spanking these kids. And I go, you know what? They're not dead. They're not broken. They don't need to go to a doctor. They don't need to go to the hospital. Be pissed off. Find a way to get back and dump some paint on O'Bannon's head, right? But like, why do we always have to go to this? And God, I'm getting so philosophical about fucking Dazed and Confused, but it just points out to me, like, why do we have to go to the super victim level where it's like, it's not okay for idiot kids, because let's be real, kids are stupid. Kids are annoying. Kids are aggressive. They got to figure shit out. And one of those things is figuring out who can you get along with, who can who can take it, who can't, who do you need to grab a hold of? Like you got Pink that's taking in Mitch, right? Like he's like, look, man, that sucks. We did it to you. He gives him the little tap, right? That keeps him cool with the seniors. But then he helps this freshman kid like have the night of his life, right? You know, because he's like, come with us. He's like, is that okay? Yeah, man, you're good. You took your shit, deal with it. It's going to suck, but now you figure it out. And look, he's probably got friends for life of these people that everybody else was running scared from and think they're assholes when it came down to it. Like they took care of him, right? And I get not everybody's like that. There are real shitty bullies, like I mentioned earlier, but this isn't it. But these people would get in trouble. You get kicked out of school, because they're doing that stuff. And I just think there's pieces of our humanity that are missing because we don't allow, and I don't even want to call it bullying because I don't believe they're the same thing, but the bullying. I mean, like you said, the positive bullying or the bullying that creates friendships and is done with good intention, not to actually harm or to hurt anybody, but to actually say, look, man, welcome to high school. This fucking sucks, but the rest of it's going to be great.
And you'll get your turn later.
Yeah. When you're a senior, you get to dish that shit out.
It's like that. It's like that continuing not really mentorship, but it's that continuing the tradition, passing it down, whatever type of a thing.
Yeah.
So, and to your point, I think where we lost it was from the side of the bullying, right? Where it's turned even more and more or become more about, straight victimizing or, getting your licks in from a power move or something like that. And it's lost what they show here, which is that, yeah, I'm going to throw you in the creek, like what you experienced. I'm going to throw you in the creek. But because of that, that's also how I know that I can get along with you, that I like you type of a thing based on your reaction to it. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you have that kind of, you're losing that, and it's losing that almost sense of community in a weird way because it doesn't seem like it, right? But it's that interaction, that community. And, I mean, my job and people that I hang out with, like I don't have a lot of friends, but the ones I do, we are terrible to each other. It is like we can't have HR at my company because all of us would get fired in about 10 minutes. And so it's that kind of, the way we rib on each other, the way we interact, the way we talk, and people have actually come like from the outside in and turned around and gone right back out in a couple weeks because they just don't understand or they can't fit into it because it's everybody. It's like we'll even take digs at ourselves sometimes more frequently than each other, but it's that idea of you're gonna come in, it's gonna be a mixer and a blender, but at the same time, if you're having a rough time, like, and I know that when I put you through shit, like you come out or you give it back, like I'm more likely to help you out and be on your team and your side when I can clearly see that, oh hey, you're struggling with this, versus someone I don't know how to interact with, then it's just almost walking on eggshells to try and figure it out. And it's this little dance of, like I don't really know how to interact in this place. And so I hate making new friends.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any. Because I just can't interact with them.
Yeah.
Because the way that I interact is in this very, demeaning kind of feeding back and forth, like sarcastic. I'm gonna wait until you're at your lowest and I'm gonna kick you down even further. But at the same time, there's that kind of once it's kind of established the boundaries or whatever from there, then it's like, all right, I know where to go, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
And it's a closer bond, in my opinion, than someone who you just interact with on a surface level. That makes sense.
No, absolutely. It makes perfect sense. Like I said, one of my best friends still to this day was a bully to me. And we're nasty to each other. I mean, like me, you, and Mattson, and like a lot of times the podcast doesn't see it all the time, like in the episodes we release. But goddamn, and here's my shameless plug. Go check out Patreon. We shit all over each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like
on the daily.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be fun if we didn't. Like that's what we do, and that's how I know I want to keep doing this shit with you guys because it's fun and we get after each other and it's hilarious. And yeah, I would be so, and that's always been, yeah, I think I talked to my nieces and my one niece is graduating next year and my other niece is a freshman this year. And it's like, I listen to them and they talk about how everybody's just so soft with each other. And I'm just like, man, you guys don't even know. And I hate saying that because I hated it back when I was in school and people from the 70s were like, you guys have no idea. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's very true. Now, I understand where they're coming from because I do. I talk to my nieces and nephews all the time and they're like, oh, this, that, or the other. And someone was doing, and I'm like, who cares? I'm like, just roll with it. It's like you get more respect. I mean, unless they're trying to actually hurt somebody,
yeah,
then that's different. But if they're just like giving you a good ribbon or they just, poking you, or they just, that's take a paddle to your ass enough to give you a bruise. Who gives a shit? I don't have to go to the hospital. I'm not hurt. I'm going to get past it and then we'll laugh about it. And then someday I'll tattoo some freshman's ass with a paddle. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, it's this pattern. It's a cycle. And I think there's some health to it that we've gotten rid of because we're so afraid of those outliers. And I truly believe they're outliers that take it to a place where it's pure victim, like, oh, this little joke was meant to hurt me, and everybody just gets so offended by everything. Like, Jesus, man, if these kids hung out with me and my friends when we were their age, dude, they'd be in freaking insane asylums. We tortured each other and we loved each other for it. I mean, I go back to Kentucky and I see friends like Lamar and Caleb and we just walk right into, what's up, you fat fuck?
Yeah,
you're looking especially ugly today. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
it's the same. You just fall back into it.
Yeah,
because those lines have already been drawn in the sand, so to speak. But the other kind of cool thing about this movie, like this movie has layers to it.
Yeah,
is we get that other side of it, right? With Adam Goldberg's character and that kind of side crew who doesn't participate in anything.
Yeah.
And they're doing like the philosophical thinking or the deep, kind of side quest, we'll say, to where they're not into this sphere. They're adjacent to it.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have this as well, where as they're still showcasing this kind of other side, which is the side that's going to be all about the the proper way to do things, or this is the way, you know, I think at one point he mentions like the alpha monkey, right, and when he goes in for the fight at the end, but you can see that it skips over that ribbing, right, and it's because you have Adam Goldberg's character who just isn't in the loop, right, and so he kind of he takes it a step further, right, and goes straight to the punching or the, you know, start the fist fight type of a thing, which if you had that back and forth, never happens. Right. If you have that ribbing, like I've never wanted to punch somebody that I have that kind of relationship with. It's never come down to that. But there's a lot of people I'm looking at like, you should be punched in the face right now. And it's when that relationship isn't there and you don't have that connection. And so I was kind of like watching through this, like, oh shoot, they showed the other side of this as well, which is where you don't have that mesh, you don't have that kind of community going back and forth with a mutual respect kind of in there. And now you see when you have that confrontation, you have that friction, and what does it play out to? Like it ends okay. But that's because you have outside help stepping in. And if you don't have that outside help or that, you know, kind of third party, I'll say, then that's where you have your issues kind of coming down, because now there's, you know, there's a communication barrier, for lack of a better term. And so I kind of enjoyed that too. And I was sitting there watching, probably had the same experience you did, where I was like, this movie, now that I'm watching as part of podcast, now I'm looking at it like a movie instead of, you know, just like sitting down and watching it. And I was like, it's still enjoyable, but I was like, oh no, it's ruined.
Dude, I'll tell you, the podcast has ruined many a movie for me. In fact, we'll talk about one next time. But yeah, but I'm with you. I think there is more depth to this movie than I ever gave it credit for. And I think for me, Pink is one of those examples too, where he's just kind of this guy that's floating in the middle. Everybody gets along with him, but he's got this hard decision to make, right? Like he wants to play ball, but the coach has put him in this shitty position where you got to sign this fucking honor form horse shit. And I love watching that progression where he's like trying to decide, like, is it okay for me to conform in this situation? And do I need to do that to maintain who I am and what I love to do? Or do I really need to lean into this part that we see in the movie where it's this carefree, want to have fun? And it's like the older people, and I love that conversation near the end when they're on the 50 and they're talking about the form, and you're like the fourth person that gave me this form today. And then like you have that moment of the two sides pulling at him, right? Like I can sign this thing and, you know, whatever, do what I need to do and play ball but then I don't get to be me at that point, right? Like what am I sacrificing just for this? And so I love that moment when he confronts the coach and he's like, I might play ball, but I'm not signing this shit, right? And throws it back. And I think that's really, for me, one of the coolest progression is to watch him go, I want to do this, but there has to be some bucking of the system, because for them to make me sign this, that signs away the things that I need to be experiencing right now to become who I'm going to be after school, right? Because school is such a tiny piece of life. And when you get past it, like you have to decide, who am I going to be? And so in that moment, he decides, I'm going to do more than just conform and play football and be willing to, you know, make sacrifices in order for one thing. I mean, it depends on what it is, but I just love, like, that's one of my favorite progressions, rewatching as an adult and looking at it from like a point of view of where does this movie go? There is a lot of depth there with a lot of characters. Like even the lack of depth for some characters is
depth in its own way.
In the movie. Yeah. Like Ben Affleck's character. Like that's the kind of guy that like you look at and you go, man, his identity is so wrapped up in being this and being a dick and having, like, he'll never have real power or real influence in his life. So he has to assert this level of dominance. And then the whole joke about him failing so he can do it again, right? Like that, it's wild to me, like how a character that's barely in it and only is this one-dimensional character, but when you look at it and you put it in the whole scope of the movie, there's a lot more to it than just him being this dickhead. So I like that.
No, I like it a lot too.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna follow up and say, like, especially with the pink stuff, like what's
Mm.
nice about it is this movie doesn't do anything that wouldn't make sense, right? So he's clearly that kind of got his own set code of honor, right? Like everybody else on the team signs this paper, fully knowing that they will break it, but they sign it because here it comes down the line. He's kind of looking at it as like, well, I'm not going to do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to follow this. I'm not just going to sign it and say I will when I know I won't, right? It's kind of that sense of code of honor. And it makes sense based on, we see him with Mitch. He gives the light tap, offers to drive him home, right? Brings him in. He follows his own moral compass, his own code of honor.
Yeah.
In its own way. And he's not just, signing the paper to sign it and fully just knowing that he's going to break it, right? I would do that. I'd be like, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And immediately break it. And so it's kind of a cool added depth to it that, solidifies, hey, this guy's more than just your typical meathead quarterback that you would see typically in this movie.
Yeah.
Right. He's got this sense of code that he follows and morals understanding, and he sticks to it no matter the situation that he's in, whether he's hanging out with, his buddies or a freshman, or he's hanging out with Wooderson. He's the same person.
Yeah.
And so they don't throw any kind of these twist little things in there that would make Pink or any of the other characters not really fit just to tell the story.
Yeah.
They tell the story with the characters in mind and having them stick to almost this, this story and this writing. It all makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a very well-written movie with a lot of great dialogue, good conversations. I will say that in the 70s, it must have been nice to be able to drive like a fucking NASCAR driver through the streets of a town and not fucking get hammered for that. Because even in the 90s, I wasn't getting away with that shit. Like, we did do some stupid shit in the car. There was like a hill in Kentucky that we used to jump when I first got my license, and that was fun. We almost died a couple of times, but like, I can't, that first opening chase scene.
Just go for broke, man.
Yeah, dude. And the amount of guns that get pulled on kids.
It's like 70s a wild time.
No shit. The mom with the shotgun is the greatest thing. Oh, fuck. And then the old dude shooting, like he's shooting at these kids.
Yeah, like, for a mailbox.
Yeah, it's great. It's fucking great. I love it.
Movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say, the part that I don't like is my favorite part, and the fact that we get too much Wooderson in places he doesn't belong because they liked Matthew McConaughey. He did such a great job, and that pulls me out a little bit because it's the only part of this movie that doesn't exactly fit.
Yeah.
Right? Like at the 50-yard line, he's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But he's there because Wooderson is amazing.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like, oh, because I love him. I love more screen time, but he's not supposed to be there. And it with such a great written story, you can see the mistakes that are made by adding him in. Whereas this more loosey goosey kind of plot and, up and down all around, it gets hidden into it. But these are so blatantly like he was not meant for this scene that it just nails on a chalkboard almost for me, where I'm like, oh
yeah. There are some moments in the dialogue that I'm like, okay, like I'm trying to, like, there's the part where Pink is talking to Joey Lauren Adams' character after he's made out with this other girl, like the one dude's sister, and like he's having this conversation, like that conversation like grates on my nerves so bad because I'm just like, this doesn't add any value to me, especially with that character, right? Like I don't care. Like, I like him and the dude's sister together. Like, that was like, oh, that's a good pick. And then all of a sudden she's like making a big deal. Like, I'm okay. First of all, don't make out with this dude if you're going to be all weird about it. Then like he goes to Joey Lauren Adams and they're talking. And I'm like, you obviously don't like this. You're having this conversation that's partially serious. And like, I just don't buy it. And maybe it's because of Joey Lauren Adams that like never been a big fan of her in most cases, but it also just, to me, that dialogue didn't add to the value of the movie, which is interesting because I know some of that shit had to be added because they're like, we need it to be longer than like an hour and 20 minutes because it's a relatively short movie.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, unless you're looking to edit a bunch of stuff out, you're going to be in trouble at some point. But I do think that there were some weird conversations that I was like, what? But other than that, like, so funny. It's just so funny.
Yeah, no. It's a great watch. I crack up just uproariously every single time I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just full of great quotability, good one-liners. And I mean, even is it Ryan Cochran?
Yeah.
Dude, just classic stoner.
So good.
He slurs his words. You have to almost watch his lips move to figure out what he's saying.
His eyes are always red, just around. It's just great.
Just such a great performance.
Oh yeah.
Just fits the bill so well, and he's clearly having a good time and having fun while he's doing it.
Oh yeah.
And so it's little things like that where you can tell the cast is also having just a blast making this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie does make me want to go get some trees every time. I'm like, gotta hit the trees. It's time for some tree load. Like, yeah, it's just great. Like, I love the part 2 at the very beginning when they're talking about the party and they're getting ready. The dad, mom and dad get ready. He comes up and they're like, dude, because he's just holding the freaking bag of trees in his lap, and it's like, and then he's like, oh shit, and tucks it under his shirt. But like, it's just sitting there staring at it for a minute, like, and they're like, dude, like, that'd be that guy, like, just staring at it, going, that's what I want. Not, I don't want to hide it. I want to roll it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love that they all had papers in their glove box, and they all like, I was just like, man,
prepared.
I wish I had lived in the 70s sometimes. Like, the things that were like normal, it was very hard to get that kind of paraphernalia when I was in high school. And I lived in a place where started in high school in a place where that stuff is grown on the regular out in Kentucky. Like, I can't tell you how many times FBI shuts down marijuana farm out in middle of nowhere, Kentucky. So weird. But yeah, it wasn't easy to get a hold of that stuff. But the movie makes me want to have some every single time. Oh, to be in high school again. That's the other thing this movie makes me think of. Like, if I could go back to high school and know what I know now, fuck. And I didn't have a bad, like, I have friends who will talk about high school, and even I think Mattson's mentioned like he hated high school, and I'm like, I actually didn't have a problem with high school. Like, I had a good time in high school. I didn't have a lot of enemies. I didn't have a lot of people who didn't like. I had a few. I got a lot of fights when I first moved to Kentucky because, like, kind of like how it goes in this movie, they had to test you. Like, what kind of person were you? Like,
pecking order.
Yeah, are you going to run over and cry to the teacher because we found you and wanted to fight you in the hallway? Are you going to take your beating and move on? Or are you going to give out a beating and make us go, well, maybe we shouldn't do that again?
They grow different up there in Ohio.
Yeah, exactly. But I did. I'll tell you, when I first moved to Kentucky, I was in 6th grade, 7th grade. Like, I was 12. I was 11 when we first moved there. Dude, I got in so many fights at first. And then, again, at least half of those fights became really great friends later on. Because it's just how it was. It's not, we weren't in this to, like, beat the shit out of each other. We were in it to see, can you hang, man? Can you take it? Like, are you willing to stand up for yourself? Are you willing to do what you got to do? And sometimes I was, and sometimes I was like, oh, this is going to suck. I took a few beatings.
Yeah. So, like, for me anyway, high school, I went to high school in Southern California. Right. So it's already going to be way different than Kentucky.
Oh,
but then on top of that, we went to high school, 12 years apart or something like that. And so then you have the times added in. And so I had a very mild high school experience, but I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, I haven't changed much. So I'm one of those people that is like, for whatever reason, people tend to like me.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I am a terrible person. I am the worst asshole you will ever meet in your life. But for whatever reason, people seemed to like me. And so I was that kid that everybody kind of knew,
Yeah.
right? And I knew everybody, or
Yeah.
everybody know me, but I wasn't close to anybody. I didn't really do much outside of high school, like going to parties or stuff like that, because I had my circle of friends and we go chill or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if I would go back and do it different, I'd probably be more involved with other things and just go out and have fun. But it's like I don't feel like I missed anything, because I just haven't changed. I'm the same asshole. Just, and there's no reason to almost. It's gonna sound terrible this way, but it's like there's almost no reason to change, because for whatever reason, whatever I'm doing, people seem to like. So,
the
I
internet doesn't like you there. You
best
froze.
of both worlds. The internet doesn't like me. I did freeze, so I was just saying, like, I almost have the best of both worlds, in the sense that I could be this absolute dick.
Yeah.
But people seem to be okay with it when I do it, and so it's like, do I really want to give that up for potentially a different experience?
That's fair.
No, not really.
That's fair. That's fair. No, I'm with you. I will say that I'd be interested to go back knowing what I know now, just to see what I would go back. And again, this goes back to the point of I'm kind of a dick too. I would go back for nefarious purposes. Like, I would not go back because I had a bad experience and I wanted it to be better or anything like that. I would go back because I was like, I think now and I go, man, if I knew what I know now, if I was as smart as I am and have the life experience, and went back to high school, the shit that I could get away with and get people to do and like manipulate, like, are you shitting me? High school kids, including myself when I was there, are fucking stupid. And the shit you could like just talk, oh my God, like I'd be a king. And the funny thing is like, I'm like you. Casey gives me shit all the time because she goes, dude, everybody loves you and I don't understand it and I hate it. And I'm like, I don't understand it either, but I love it. And because I'm with you, like, if you get to know me, I'm kind of a dumbass dick. And so I'm like, and Casey all the time said, I don't get it. She goes, people just love you. You walk into a room and say hi to anybody. You can be a dick. You can be an asshole. And people just go, yeah, that JJ guy, he's really nice. Like, he's a good egg. I'm just like, I don't fucking know. I don't do anything. I'm not trying. And maybe that's the issue. Maybe I don't try. I know you don't try. It's not like I'm going out and going, I need to make friends. It's like, no, I'm just fucking going to go wherever and people just like me. So I know what you're saying.
At least for me, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's the guarantee. It's the worst decision you've ever made. But the best part is, I'll tell people that. Like, they'll be like, you're pretty cool. I'm like,
yeah.
Worst decision you've ever made. And it almost is like the draw. Like, that's what they want. And they're like, oh, no, now I like you more because you said that. Yeah. It's like, I'm not saying that to make you like me more. I'm saying this as a favor. You should run. As far away as you can.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I usually tell people there will come a day when you will you'll look at me and your jaw will drop because I will do or say something that you're like, what? And then you can't forget about it and then it'll start to make you think about it and go, JJ's an asshole. But I fooled you somewhere along the line. So.
And then you'll be so upset at yourself because now you'll start to see it.
Yeah.
And nobody will believe you.
Yeah. Eventually you'll think like Casey and go, why do people like him so much? Oh, shit. Anyway, should we rate this thing?
Let's do it.
All right, Alex, it's your movie.
My movie.
Get to rate.
I'm going to give it 4.5. And the reason I'm not going to is for what I kind of said earlier. Love Matthew McConaughey. Love everything he's in. First movie he's in, and he's in it too much. Never gonna hear me say that again. But the only reason that I notice is because of how well this movie's written, how well this movie's done. That you can tell when they said, "Hey, this Matthew McConaughey guy is gonna be somebody special. We need to put him into more stuff. He's gonna help improve the movie." And the experience is great, but I've seen this movie enough times to be like, he doesn't belong there. He doesn't belong there. This scene was obviously added because, all right. Or, be a lot cooler if he did. And so those pieces contribute to building the Wooderson legend, right? And then from there, They're like, oh, we should throw him in here. Oh, we can throw him in here. And he doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm knocking down to 4.5. But still, I will sit down and watch Dazed and Confused anytime, anywhere. I love this movie. I will always watch it. So, 4.5 for me. We'll be watching it again.
Yeah. I'm going to be right there with you. 4.5 for me, too. I think along the same lines, I just broaden it to like there are filler moments in this movie that don't actually add any value to it, to a very valuable movie. Like the when I think about value, like I think about from like a risk reward type perspective. And for this one, it's like the value there is how much is there for me to learn and have fun and, you know what I mean, get from this movie versus where's the stuff they're doing because they can and they're, you know, it's high school kids and so they can do dumb shit. So I think there's some things in there that I'm like, that's a little stretch. And for me, even as weird as it is, like it bothers me that the dude actually shot the gun at these kids. Like, what happens if you fucking hit one for a mailbox? Are you shitting me right now? Like, what's going on? So there's just little things that bothered me.
It's the 70s. You're gonna put a Band-Aid on it and go back to school the next day. You'll be fine.
That's fair. That's fair. Put a Band-Aid on it and walk uphill both ways to get to school. I love it. Yeah, but this movie's hilarious. It's great story, great writing. It's funny. I just really enjoy it. And I'm with you. I'll watch it anytime and laugh and have a good time. It's just as good every time I watch it. So 4.5 for me. I will again watch this movie anytime. So I will certainly be watching it again. But I liked it. It's a good choice, my friend, and a good way to kick off the summer kickoff movies. But before we jump into the next one, why don't you tell everyone where they can find us?
Happy to. So like JJ said, this is June first week. We are doing summer kickoff movies. So the whole month going to be some great summer choices. Some that maybe JJ and I kind of agree that Mattson picked a little up there, but it's going to be a great time. Summer kickoff movies, going to have a blast. This is week 1, Dazed and Confused. So special thanks to our patrons, Rich and Charles. I don't know what Charles' name is.
CB.
Still.
It's
CB still.
CB.
For making the selection of topic and movies that go in that. Guys, if you want to get involved in podcast selection for movies, topics, things that we're going to put out, episode content, Patreon is the place to do it. You guys can get in on the voting. Usually we open up a vote for topics, choose a topic for a month, and then from there, we each put a couple movies in, and it's major bragging rights if our movies get picked. For example, poor JJ went like 0 for 6 months.
Fuck.
And then he just came up and swept all 3 of his movies in June. So it's a little side competition that we have. So go in there, vote for your favorite one. And, you know, you guys can have a hand in creating the content. In addition to that, Patreon's got a ton of behind-the-scenes content, extra episodes, probably up to, 500 episodes now on the back end of Patreon. Yeah. So plenty of content there for you guys if you need some more what's our verdict in your life. With that, I will kick it back to the King of Crash, the Maharaja of MASH, a JJ.
That's right. Yeah, Charles, old CB, he posted some more on in there finally. He's telling us some stuff, so we can talk about that offline and make it fun episode stuff. But yeah, come join us. We love to hear from you, interact with you. It's good times. It's good to see Charles back in the mix and conversing with us again. It's great. Yeah, there it is. Week 1 in June, Dazed and Confused. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out. Whoa!